Okay.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Let's do this. I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
in Cruton.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at NextLevelD1 and see his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express.
Good chicken.
You know what? This is. I'm gonna say something controversial here.
Oh.
A couple weeks ago,
Oh, God.
I don't know where this is going.
I don't like where this is going.
I got some chicken E. Chicken E, of course, hits every time.
Slaps.
But I tried something that I'd never had before. I tried a new thing.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And I know you are a fan of all things cheese sticks. I got to tell
You got Mott's?
I got their cheese sticks. And I'll be honest.
Yes!
It was one of those
Fan.
things. It was one of those things that my normal go-to side for summer, I think they're out. This particular location was out.
Yeah.
At the time. So I was like, okay, I'll try the cheese sticks. And I'll be honest. I should have known better. My expectations were low. Cause it's a chicken place. It's like they're not gonna do. There's no way they can be great at chicken and all the
chicken
sides
place.
and also mozzarella sticks, guys.
Their mozzarella sticks are
They're
legit.
really good.
They're really good.
I was like, whoa.
I don't ever give you credit for things you say, but that was a good. That was good. You did well.
I'm telling you, it hit. It's really good.
Always.
Anyway,
The cheese to breading ratio.
it's
it's
spot
not-
on.
it's spot
on.
on.
God.
Anyway, Chicken Express.
I can have a whole show over this.
They also have cheese sticks.
Ashley's Mott's reviews.
I got to figure out my list of Chicken Express locations that I haven't been to. I mean, I've really been to some obscure ones
Yeah,
this
you have.
year. You know, like you missed it last week, but I was to the Jacksboro
Ooh.
Okay.
Chicken Express.
Okay.
So
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Let's get to our prospect on the rise. Prospect on the rise. Let's go down to Converse Judson, where they've got a big season opener this week against DeSoto. And they will feature one of the highest risers in the state in their senior linebacker, Treylin Payne. Treylin Payne is the Houston verbal commitment. He is now our number 5 inside linebacker in the state in the class of 2022. He is also our 97th ranked player in the DCTF Hot 100. This is a guy, feels like you always know what you're getting from a guy like Treylin Payne.
well, and just for the recruiting fans in general, the top 100, the Hot 100, DCTF Hot 100 was updated on Sunday. We had 4 new 4-stars as well as some new debuts in the top 100. Treylin Payne was one of those names. And one thing that really jumps out to me when breaking down his film is his athleticism, his ability to cover not only, the opponent's run game, but he's good in pass coverage as well. He's a new age style of linebacker, brings a little bit of everything to the table, and that's why I really think that he should be rated squarely in that top 100. And he's a guy who he's collected over 250 tackles the last 2 seasons, and he's going to have another big year this year, I think.
He is. You and I have had long conversations about the changing dynamics of defense and how hybrid is the new word.
Right.
Hybrid is the new the what you've got to be. You've got to be versatile. And this guy feels like Treylin Payne feels like he fits that mold. That this is the guy that he plays like a safety that they line up at linebacker. He doesn't have the beefy size of that traditional middle linebacker, but whatever he lacks in that kind of overall size, his size is good, 6'2", 200. But he makes up more than makes up for in just flying to the football and making plays when he gets there.
Well, teams are going to try to get away with playing 2 linebackers when they can,
Yep.
5 defensive backs, or they're going to use a 3rd linebacker like this guy who can do a little bit of everything. You're not afraid to throw him out there in coverage. He's not a liability. And this is just a huge pickup for Dana Holgerson and the Houston Cougars all around. And seriously, recruiting fans, check out the updated rankings. We have fleshed out positional rankings. I think we have a top 10 listed at every position but fullback and tight end. There are no fullbacks on our site right now, and I don't think we've had a fullback profile in a while. Maybe we should remove that category.
I can tell you this.
No.
As the guy who did the recruiting between the numbers in the magazine, there was a grand total of 1 fullback signed in FBS last year.
And
Now that does not count. I'm sure Army signed a fullback,
Right.
And I'm
That
sure
seems
Navy
on
signed
brand.
a fullback, but they don't count. They don't sign letters of intent. And so, but yeah, the fullback, unfortunately,
R.I.P. to a good one.
Yeah, RIP to a roll.
No hate to Nick Ralston. We hope you make the team.
Love, but there's just it's unfortunately it's a dying breed. Let's get to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, we're going to stick on the defensive side. Go up to the DFW Metroplex. Talk about 2022 Arlington Martin defensive end R.J. Cooper, Ernest Cooper, but they call him R.J. He has pulled the trigger. The 4-star prospect, the number 19 prospect in the DCTF Hot 100, is committed to the Cardinal singular, as technically like it's a color of Stanford. He's committed to them over Texas A&M. Arlington Martin, of course, has a history of putting out outstanding edge rushers. Ernest Cooper is the next one, and he's going to Stanford, where they have had a history of taking DFW area edge rushers and turning them into, say, hypothetically, top 3 picks in the NFL draft.
Agreed, and this is a huge commitment. I actually thought that he might be leaning towards Texas A&M whenever he made this decision. But surprise, he's going to go to Stanford, which offers the best of both worlds, I think. You know, they crank out guys who can play in the NFL, as you stated, and they offer such a high academic class. You know, that I mean, it is what it is. When you're looking at Stanford, you have that offer. It's hard to say no to that. You know, it just provides you such an opportunity. If football doesn't work out or life after football, it's going to be a big deal for R.J. Cooper. And I think this is one of the guys who I have – like circled on my list that I think is going to have like a huge senior season. When he broke out, and you'll remember watching him in the playoffs when he was a sophomore. I can't remember who they got bounced by, but it was a game in AT&T Stadium, and you could see like he was a gazelle, but a baby one.
Yeah.
And now he's like grown into a full monster, you know, and he started picking up offers then. And this year I think is going to be like that season where everybody takes note of him.
He's a monster out there. And another guy who's got a big week 1 test, they take on Lake Travis and a really good Lake Travis offensive line. And so we'll get some really good tape on Ernest R.J. Cooper, the newest commitment to the Stanford Cardinal. We're talking This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the next level athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag TF Today. Let's go to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week, sticking in the DFW Metroplex. Let's go to North Mesquite, to their 2023 wide receiver, Cordale Russell. He has committed to SMU, the Ponies. Haul in Cordale Russell. He had offers from the SEC, like Tennessee and Arkansas. He had offers from the Big Ten, like Minnesota. Offers from like the Pac-12, like Utah. He is a guy who we had in our top 100 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football in the class of 2023, and a guy who, once again, continues the trend of SMU sealing the borders here in the DFW Metroplex.
It's really impressive. I feel like we're talking about SMU all the time in recruiting right now, and justifiably so, because this is another huge pickup. You're going to see Cordell's stats flash across the screen right now. As a sophomore, he racked up 637 yards and 6 touchdowns. So another one of these guys who I think is going to continue to progress as he matures and it becomes that go-to guy. He had some experience playing quarterback as a youngster, and I was always curious if North Mesquite would find a spot for him under center as he grew up in that program, but he's become such a beast split out wide that he is, I mean, it's hard to not put him there, and he's a true outside receiver, 6'2", around 180 pounds, 185 pounds, and he has such a huge upside. He's only going to get better and better as he gets more reps. So I really am impressed with what Cordale Russell's bringing to the table, and such a great start for SMU in the class of 2023.
Yeah, and one of those examples of just getting in early, you know what I mean? Getting in on a guy early, and that's what they were able to do here with Cordale Russell, SMU bound now at the North Mesquite 2023 wide receiver. Let's round it all out with our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week is a name you need to familiarize yourself with. It is DJ Hicks, the defensive end from Allen, transferred to Allen in the offseason from Katy Morton Ranch. He has been named the #1 player in Texas in the class of 2023 by Rivals.com. He's a Rivals.com 5-star. He's already got 35 offers. If you recognize, I mean, Hicks is kind of a common last name, but he is a guy who's got good bloodlines. His dad played for the Kansas City Chiefs for a little bit, and he is now on the staff there for Allen there at Chad Morris. Chad Morris is involved. This is a guy who you're going to need to know. He's going to be one of those guys who's in the mix for a Dave Campbell's Texas Football 5-star ranking. David Hicks, Rivals has certainly paid attention to what he's doing.
Yeah, he was named the #1 player in the Rivals.com recently updated rankings there, and I think it's a good pick. I'm currently torn right now on the top player in the class of 2023. I think I'm most strongly considering DJ Hicks and Jalen Hill at Longview. But I'd like to evaluate maybe a couple more weeks into the season or maybe 3 games into the season to try to make like a definitive answer. I hate making a guy like number 1 and then having to lower him. That's like,
right.
When you're the number 1 guy, you really kind of want to make sure that you're making a solid pick and you want it to be the guy. But I have to say that he brings a lot of things to the table that a number 1 player would bring to the table. He has a tremendous first step. His explosion is out of this world, and he exhibited that at 220, 225 pounds. He started getting some playing time as a freshman, and now that he's 250 pounds, he hasn't lost a step. And another thing that I really like about Hicks is that his dad's a coach, so he understands the game. He's technically sound, but he's not afraid to go out and take reps against the elite and go around the country and compete at camps. He had all these offers. I think he had 30 offers, and he still went on like a huge camp tour to earn more offers, and that's when you saw schools like Clemson and Ohio State, Alabama, those kind of schools put the icing on the cake of what is one of the premier offer lists, not only in the class of 2023, but barring any class across any state, DJ Hicks has those offers.
He's a monster. I mean, he's a bona fide monster and a guy who I think is going to be a guy we're talking about. It's certainly look, I'm comfortable saying he's going to be a top 10 prospect for us in the class of 2023.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
he's in
easy.
the running to be number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
He should be number 1 or number 2.
He is a monster off there, and I feel like people, now that he's, he was at Katie Morton Ranch, he transfers to Allen. Maybe people will get some more eyes on him, stuff like that. So it'll be very, very interesting to see.
You know what is also interesting is you can't say that people are sleeping on Allen, right? Like that's like a thing that you can't.
There's the understatement
that
of the
you
year.
can't say.
Yeah.
But I feel like a player like Hicks, and relevant is the wrong word, but a player like Hicks being on Allen's roster.
Maybe like overshadowed a little bit just because the sheer numbers that are there.
Well, I think last year's Allen team wasn't exactly the Allen team that we, come to expect.
It was by Allen standards a fair Allen team.
Right.
You know what I mean? By Allen standards, which is, I mean, those are insane standards. And so now, but they still have the big spotlight. And so obviously, that he'll get more eyes on him. This is with all due respect to Katie Morton Ranch, but he'll get more eyes on him at Allen than he will at Katie Morton Ranch because he could have transferred from pretty much any school in the state to Allen and would have gotten more eyes on him.
Well, because of Hicks and Chad Morris and everything else, I mean, like Allen is must-see Texas high school football this year.
Most
this is like this is a team and a player that I have to see.
Speaking of must-see Texas high school football, he's Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.